NBA news as of today, and you know what I'm going to be talking about, right? Finally, it has come, yo. Finally, the 2025 NBA season just ended, right? Just yesterday and last night, right? And oh my boy, you know, there's a lots of things I have to say in this video, so it might go long, right? I'll be talking about the Thunder won their first championship. This is the first team that I've ever seen, win, an NBA championship in my lifetime, right? And also, I'll be talking about, by the end of the video, probably, the Houston Rockets trade, right? Kevin Durant trade, right? So, yeah, oh yeah. And the history of the Oklahoma City Thunder, right? So, yep. So, before I get into this video, I want to say congratulations to the Oklahoma City Thunder, right? To all you Oklahoma City Thunder fans that are watching this video, or not, congratulations to you guys. You guys deserve a championship, and you stay loyal to your team. Staying loyal can be a pain in the ass sometimes, but in the end, it's all rewarding, right? You've been waiting for this, right? And just celebrate this moment, because this may only happen like one time. You never know. This may never happen again, right? So, yeah. This may happen like once or twice, or I don't know how many times, but finally, this city is starving for championship. They never won the championship, right? In the city, but not as a franchise, right? The last time the Oklahoma City won the championship was in 1979. And today, we're in year 2025. So you're saying that this franchise has not won a championship in almost 50 years, man. 46-year drought, right? I know how that feels, I know how it feels, as your ex-Warrior fan, right? We didn't win the championship in like 40 years, right? From 1975 to 2015. Right? About 40 years. And you guys wait for like almost 50 years of championship drought, right? It has finally ended. Right? Yeah. SGA should be the MVP. No doubt about it, man. This guy is crazy, man. And the the Clippers are so stupid to trade this guy, man. Made the stupidest move ever, right? Just for, a podcast, right? Paul George is a bum, man. He doesn't, even worth, one player, right? Oh my God, Oklahoma City, the Clippers just gave the Thunder a championship, right? That's how so lopsided it is, right? And Thunder may win multiple championships, right? You never know, right? This Thunder team are probably, they might be the youngest team that ever won a championship, right? That is impressive, right? Even though we live in the weak era, right? We are so done with 2020s, right? Every championship in 2020 was a fluke, but this one has to be legitimate, right? The Thunder, they rebuild and go through pain all these years, right? They were the biggest laughingstock of the NBA, the team that had lost 73 points to the Memphis Grizzlies in December 2021, and then boom, and in 2023 they missed the playoff, just barely missed it. And then 2024, they were the first seed, and they got knocked out by the Mavericks, and they just kept going and going and going. This team does not want to stop. And in 2025, they won the NBA Finals in 7 games, right? The Thunders, after, Kevin Durant left and Westbrook left, and all these, talented player left, they went on a rebuild. And I remember that the Thunders were never a relevant team after they were no longer the Seattle Supersonics, right? this franchise was first in Seattle Supersonic, and then they became the Oklahoma City Thunder, right? So yeah, and then they became famous in like 2012. They went to the NBA Finals because they have Kevin Durant, Westbrook, James Harden, the big three, right? And couldn't get the job done, right? And in 2016, they were one game away from the NBA Final and potentially could have won the title, right? They could have. But no, Kevin Durant is a bum and he's a wimp and he choked it up, right? A 3-1 lead versus the, super team Golden State Warrior, right? And then he has to join the Golden State Warrior. Then Thunders are never relevant again, right? And then everybody eventually left. Westbrook left and the Oklahoma City died, right? And then they are alive again, right? Ever since that 2019 trade, they got like, I don't know how many amounts of draft pick they got, but they got like it was a highway robbery, man. And that's where things turned it out. Shout out to Sam Presti, the GM of the Oklahoma City Thunder. He really turned this franchise around, right? And now, they're growing and they're growing, right? So yeah, just a few years ago, Shaq Gilgeous-Alexander was nobody, right? And then he just grew to into a mega superstar, right? He just grown up. This is why you don't give up on young talent that easily, right? Yeah. SGA, saved the Thunder franchise, right? He actually did. And people are now comparing to Kobe Bryant, like, I don't want to hear it anymore. Like, he only won one championship. He's going to have to win multiple championships if he wants to be better than Kobe Bryant, right? People forgot that, this era is weaker than the 2010s era or the 2000s era, right? SGA, man. SGA is the big deal, right? All the patient fans, they look stupid at first, but then at the end of the day, now they got what they want, right? Some fans are so patient, they can wait for like hundreds of years or tens of or many decades and still, not seeing a championship. And now, it's coming, man. And there will be a parade in the Oklahoma City, right? They're going to have a parade there. So, yep. And also, enough of me talking about Thunder. Now let's talk about the Indiana Pacers, right? The Indiana Pacers been the biggest shocker to me, in the NBA playoff, in the 2025 NBA playoff, right? They've been biggest playoff, right? I thought that this team is going to be a first round exit. They're not going to beat the Cavaliers, and they have no way of being any team, right? I thought they will not beat the Boston Celtics. They cannot beat the Knicks. And turn out, I was wrong, right? After they beat the Cavaliers series, I was like, okay, Pacers are going to be one of the major underdogs, if they win this NBA championship, right? And I knew, the Knicks are, inconsistent. So the Pacers taking down the Knicks should be no surprise there, right? So, yeah, the Pacers, Tyrese Halliburton, making miraculous comeback after miraculous comeback. And he even did it against the Thunder, right? And boy, and you say a very sad ending versus the Pacers, right? All the Pacer fans out there, I feel remorse and sorry for you guys, right? That you have to deal with this, problem, You do not want a season you end it where, a big player goes down, with full of injuries, right? At the end of the day, I just want everybody to be healthy and just play 100% best, right? That way, at the end of the day, if they lose, they have no excuse to make, right? Yeah. I know there'll be type people who always make excuses, but I don't respect them, right? For the Pacer fan that always makes excuses, don't say that Tyrese Halliburton was hurt, but yeah, I hate seeing injuries. Everybody would agree with me with that, right? But then, Pacer had an opportunity, just to win game 4, right? I'm like, Thunder just gave you some opportunity just to beat them in the series, right? Who knows, like, if Pacer would have won game 4, like, they would have been up 3-1 and they would have closed this thing in game 6, right? And all the pressures are on Thunder, and Thunder would have been, they would have run this Thunder out of the gym, right? Pacer only had that one chance, man. It's game 4, right? They were up by 10 points, at the end of the third quarter. And then, the fourth quarter, they choked it up, right? Yeah. It was a very close series, right? The Indiana Pacers are a lot tougher than the Denver Nuggets, right? If Denver or Timberwolves or whoever comes out of the West, they're not beating the Pacers. I have to be serious, right? Thunders are the only team that can beat the Pacers, right? And I was right. And even that, it took them, a lot of energy, out of the Thunder, right? But yeah, Pacers knew like they only had one more opportunity, and they placed the best out, even through injury, right? The one thing, that make me I'm really proud of this Pacers team, They put up a fight, they proved their hater wrong. And Tyrese Halliburton just took things, really personally. This is why you never insult people, right? Because when they take things personally, like, they will shut you up, right? Don't ever call Tyrese Halliburton overrated, right? Now I got respect over him, right? So, yeah, and if I have money, maybe I'll buy an SGA jersey, right? Who knows if he gets... Well, this is too early right now, right? Next year, they got to be a championship favorite again and win the championship to order to be, within the GOATs conversation, right? But right now, it's too young, man. So this guy needs to stay humble, and he just needs to do his thing, right? Just keep getting better and better and better, right? This championship means a lot, right? Why was it worth it at the end of the day? So the Thunder and Pacers just show you guys, how to win a championship, how to become a championship contender, right? Yeah, it does take time, You need a lot of patience. You need a lot of time. You need to build chemistry together. Don't ask, no stupid trades, right? Don't be like LeBron James, or your other players like, I need some trade. This player doesn't work out for me. This player doesn't do this. This player doesn't do that. I need some trade. Well, guess what, man? Work out with your player, show them leadership. Show them what does it take to win and prove it, right? This is where superstars, show out, right? I know, getting a real superstar that know how to win a championship is really rare, right? They need that type of leadership and that winning mentality, right? Yeah, don't be like sore loser, asking for all that trade and always make excuses and blame player this and that, right? And stop forming super team, for God's sake, right? Ever since, 15 years of super team era, man. This super team era and this 3-point era is gonna die now. And people are happy about it, right? Yeah. So, yep. But anyway, as Oklahoma City, if I was an Oklahoma City fan, I want to talk like if I'm an OKC fan as a template for this video, right? Thank you, Kevin Durant, for doing everything you could. But then, I just forget about you, man. Let's just forget about Kevin Durant and SGA, man. Yeah, man. You're the real hero, man. You got us a title. We all love you, SGA, right? And we will get respect, right? And lots of racists. That's the one thing I don't like NBA is like there's so many racist fans out there, that's hanging on SGA, right? This man is humble, This man doesn't bother anybody. He does not talk his shit, right? And he plays his game, right? Matter of fact, the more, crap you talk about him, the more he hears it, the more he plays better. So that's a good motivation for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, right? And he does no nonsense, right? This is why he got the championship, right? He does not request a trade. He does not, ask for a trade. He does not pressure GM to make move for him, whatever works best for him. He just worked whatever he got that was given to him, right? Coach and all stuff. No need to fire like a million head coaches, right? I mean, that's how you win championship, man. Just not by firing like hundreds of coaches and get a really good coach, right? So, and also had to make narratives about it, right? So, yeah, I'm glad, every organization and every fans are now seeing, like, how do you build up a championship chemistry, right? So, yep. Thank goodness, man. And also, you just have to save team. You have to be loyal, You have to work. See, there is just no shortcuts in life, right? There is just no shortcuts. To earn what you really want to earn, you have to really earn it, man, right? If you really want that goal in your life and you want any just goal, you have to work your butt off for it. There is no taking shortcuts, right? Because at the end of the day, God will find a way, to make you work for it, right? Even with, lots of money, you just cannot buy more power, right? You just cannot buy championship. I know that there's really, really rich owners in the NBA, that they they have lots of money, they can buy a championship. It doesn't work that way too, right? Nothing works. You have to build chemistry. You have to get younger, right? The NBA just needs to move on from these old guys. I'm sick of these old guys, man, right? These old players. They just need to freaking retire, Don't play until you're like your 40s, right? And let the young players, run the league, right? This is a young man's league now, right? And bring back your physicality and all that stuff, right? That's what the NBA needs to do, right? Yeah, just stop talking about like LeBron James or other superstars, Only talk about a team that deserves to be talked the most, right? The league just needs to get younger, right? Look at that, man. Shaz Gilgeous-Alexander, right? He's my age, right? We are like, okay, I'm 26 and he gotta be 26, right? Or 27 or whatever that is, right? He's not even 30 yet and he already won a championship, right? Same thing with Giannis Antetokounmpo, right? I was wrong about him. The media really pressured that Giannis need a trade, right? Giannis doesn't need to go anywhere. He just needs to stay with the goddamn Milwaukee Bucks and just deal whatever crap he gets, right? And if he wants a championship, then he has to work with it. Develop player, show them leadership. Just do what SGA does, and then they will win the championship, right? They just did in 2021, right? I know it's a hospital ring, right? This is why I don't respect the 2020 era, except for, today, right? Except for this year, right? Okay, in 2020, bubble championship. Nobody respects it, right? They just play against nobody, right? The Lakers play against an 8-seeded Miami Heat, right? That looks like a first-round exit team, and they play against injured. Okay, that was the easiest championship the Lakers ever won, right? 2021, everyone was injured. Everybody and every team was injured in the NBA, right? Boom, boom. The Bucks won the hospital ring, right? Oh, they play against Suns, but then Suns, they beat up like literally everybody injured in the West, right? Everybody's injured in the East as well, so the Nets was injured, right? Nets could have beat the Bucks, right? 2022, I don't respect that championship either, but yeah, they beat an inexperienced, Boston Celtic, The East is getting weak, and I don't know what the hell is going on with the West in 2022. Okay, move on. 2023, the garbage Miami Heat again, to the finals, and then, the Denver Nuggets did not beat any 50-win team, right? Yeah, the Denver Nuggets had, did not have, a legitimate way to the finals. And 2024, the entire East is full of injuries. Boston Celtics has the easiest championship to the finals, right? And then 2025, Game 7, both teams young, they built the right way, and no BS, right? So yeah, we have not had a legitimate championship, in my opinion, ever since 2019, man. 6 years we've been waiting for this moment, right? So, yep. And also, pray outs to Tyrese Halliburton, right? But yeah, this is why, the Pacers was injured, right? Have Tyrese Halliburton has not gone down, you never know. The Pacers would have won last night. You could have easily said that, right? The game was really close, for like 2 quarters, right? Until up to the second half, then the Thunder turned up, and I knew like if Tyrese Halliburton go down, in the early first quarter, I knew that the Pacers has no chance of winning at all, right? No chance of winning. So, and there goes their season, right? There goes their championship window, It's gone. It's closed, man. Yeah. Let's go over with the Thunder versus the Pacers, in the NBA Finals, right? So, yeah. Tyrese Halliburton, was, playing for like a few minutes, and then, he was hitting on the ground like this, right? And I knew that, yeah, Pacers are done, right? But then they did not quit, right? This game was not a complete blowout, until it gets to like the late into the game, right? They were just hanging on for their dear life, right? McMatherin, TJ McConnell, right? The Pacers bench is better than the Oklahoma City bench, in my opinion. If the bench did not play well, the Pacers would have got blown out and would have no chance, and they would have quit this game, right? But the Pacers just kept fighting and fighting, right? This is why I love about the Pacers team. Is like they make you play for 48 minutes if you really want to beat them, right? Because no matter how big the lead is, you see them like coming back like every single time, and Thunder witnesses, and Thunder just step on the gas pedal. Right now, I do know that both teams had foul trouble, right? Neil Smith fouled out last night. SJ was on his 5th personal foul, and he just kept playing through, even though he's about to get fouled out, right? So, yeah, I think that the Pacers, really need to foul like SJ or something like that. Need to like foul out the best player, and they may have a chance to win. They were so close to winning. Like, yeah, you can say it's a blowout, but I watched the game. The game is way closer than what the score sets, right? I know that 20-point lead is usually 100% blowout, but in some super rare cases, like 20 points does not seem to be a blowout, especially if it was close the entire time, especially if they lose Tyrese Halliburton, especially, the Pacers just kept fighting and fighting, right? The Thunder was not hitting the 3 well. That's why the Pacers kind of like get in the game, right? The Pacers just did everything they could, to keep up with the Oklahoma City Thunder, right? And this is what you like, finals, of the 7-game best, players just out of nowhere, a player that you've never seen of, just kept shooting and shooting, right? I gotta thank the Pacers bench, and every single, Pacer players, right? That just work so hard for this. These guys deserve a big, big pat in the back, right? Same thing with the Thunders, But I hate to say, man, there's only can be one winner, right? That's the name of the story, Two opponents, and just one winner. That's it, right? Whew. Yeah, man. Pacers, season was one heck of a series. One heck, right? But one thing, that Tyrese Halliburton, one negative thing I have to say about him is that he's just inconsistent, right? If Pacers had been a little more consistent, they would have been the first seed, and they would have potentially eliminated the Thunder from winning a championship, right? So, yeah, it is what it is, But yeah, this is how I say, like, injuries of the Pacers was not an excuse, right? You had game 4, on your hand, right? You could have won game 4 and then, potentially don't have to play 3 extra games. I mean, like maybe 1 or 2 extra games, right? And would have ended this series in game 6, right? If the series ended game 6, Tyrese Halliburton would not have dealt with the injury, right? See, he didn't get injured until like like he didn't get the real bad injury until Game 7, right? If Game 7 did not exist in that series, then Tyrese Halliburton would have been fine. He still would have been injured, but he won't deal as bad as if he did play Game 7, right? So that's what I'm saying, right? Yeah, the Pacers might not be the same, Same thing with the Celtics, right? One thing I just don't like about the NBA is just so much injuries going on, right? John Moran gets injured, Warrior get injured, Curry's out. Forgot who got injured. The Celtics are out. Jason Tatum got injured. Man, oh man, so many injuries. Cavaliers injured. Like, there's so many teams I can name, that had injuries, right? Unfortunate. I don't like to see it, right? Yeah. And Tyrese Halliburton, like, injuries are just so painful, man. Right? I just wish these players were just stronger, right? Maybe they just, Tyrese Halliburton, just enjoy your off long season. You guys deserve a break for this, right? Man, just a bunch of sacrifice, just to win this one biggest moment of your life, right? So, man, and I don't think the Pacers are not going to be in the finals again, because now every single team are just going to get tougher, right? So yeah, and the Boston Celtics are now, not winning any more championship from now on, right? So yeah, feel bad for the loyal fan base, but for the racist, and disrespectful fan base, you don't get anything, right? And you get karma for what you get, for treating others, right? Mistreating others, right? So yeah, that was a long talk because I got a lot of things to say, lots of things, but I would have been excited, if that was my favorite team. But Thunders are not my favorite team, It's a team, that I've been looking forward to, right? This team got me so hyped up, ever since 2020, right? Since, I heard that, the Thunder had a really bright future. Ever since I made a trade, like, I knew the Thunder's going to have a bright future, and I knew that they're going to win a championship at some point, right? 5 years from the time, I start following the Thunder and I'm starting getting interested in them, they won a championship, right? After 5 years, man. Since 2020, since the same year, we lost Kobe Bryant. The Lakers won their, fluke bubble championship, right? Alex Caruso, exposed the Lakers, man. The Lakers just say, we just get rid of Alex Caruso, right? And LeBron James, right? Further expose LeBron James, right? Alex Caruso, right? Who else, yeah, Chet Holmgren. Like, Thunder also had to deal with injuries, so being Thunders are not impossible, right? So the Thunder also had to do injury, right? Chet Holmgren was out majority of, the season, right? I forgot Thunder even have injury problem too, so yeah. Dang, man, just so much injuries this season, right? But this one's a lot more legit, and hopefully, every team stays healthy next season. Hopefully, next season gets better, right? And before I end off this video, I think I want to talk about Kevin Durant, right? Kevin Durant got traded to the Houston Rockets, and what's my short opinion about that, right? So yeah, Kevin Durant, the old Kevin Durant got traded to the Houston Rockets. I think that the Houston and the Suns potentially, I don't know who won the trade yet, because this is a little too early right now, but in the next few years, but we'll find out like who won the trade, right? So I still don't know yet. So the Houston Rockets, they traded Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, and their number 10th, draft pick, and then, gave up 5, second round picks to the Phoenix Suns, right? For Kevin Durant, right? I feel like this could be a win because, Jalen Green has been ass in the playoff, right? They've been having a Jalen Green issue, right? Jalen Green was the really reason why, the Rocket screw up the Rocket chance of winning the championship, right? So, yeah, and then, they get rid of Dylan Brooks, yeah, I get it, he's Dylan the villain, the toxic guy that runs his mouth a lot, right? High motor mouth. I mean, yeah. So, I feel like the Houston Rockets should have traded Jalen Green a lot, earlier, right? Because ever since Jalen Green chokes in the playoff, it was hurting his trade value, and this is why the Rockets have to give up a little bit more, just to get Kevin Durant, right? So, yeah, I think the Suns just needs to go on a full rebuild, right? If they really want to win a championship again, right? I mean, that's what I said. Yeah, look like the Suns just need to be on a rebuild again, right? So, yeah, man, this is why I don't like Jalen Green, Okay, he paint his fingernail polish, right? My God, this is what a woman does, right? And this guy, is so damn immature, right? He's more like, sometimes, his behavior is even worse. He's even less disciplined compared, to the high school teenagers, right? That's how much of a clown this guy is, right? So, yeah. But then, now I know who's Ime Udoka, right? I like the Houston Rockets. I like Houston Rockets with the Kevin Durant, right? Ime Udoka is not stupid, right? And he does not trust Jalen Green, right? See? You only trade players, if they don't work out, right? Certain players, no matter how hard you try with them, you'll never win the championship, right? Get players, that's better leadership and willing to put better amounts of work quality out there, right? The work ethnicity, to win some more, right? So, yeah, the Houston Rockets just got better, in my opinion. I don't know how much better, but I know they did got better, right? So, yeah. Even though, and this is why, Pacers are really good, because I say that Pacers had a better head coach than, the Oklahoma City Thunders, right? But then, Thunder, they just have way more talent comparing, to the Pacers, right? It's just really hard, to get everything right, to win a championship, right? You need a good coach, good roster, good talent, good everything, right? Pacers only had a good coach, right? Development coach, right? The Thunders, how's his coaching? I don't think he's trash. I think he's just above average, right? But just not elite level, right? Rick Carlisle, he did everything he could, for the Pacers win championship. I remember in 2011, he coached the Dallas Mavericks team, to cause a really big upset against, the super team Miami Heat, right? Yeah, Yeah, he was the one, that turned the Dallas Mavericks into a real underdogs, right? Yeah, the Pacers if Pacers win this championship, they gotta be the biggest underdog I ever seen in my life, right? They gotta be one of the biggest underdogs, right? But yeah, I think there's nothing else much to say about these two teams, right? Just put everything on the line, right? Yeah, man. Let's see, let's see what's going to happen this offseason. And if there's any more big trades that's going to happen, I will mention this video and I will talk more about it. So, yesterday was a big day, man. The Kevin Durant trade and the Thunder won their first title ever in the OKC, in the new OKC Thunders, city, right? And the franchise getting their second championship after, 46 years of drought, right? Both Pacers and the Thunder are both, 46 plus years, I feel sorry for the Pacers, they never won the championship. They were one game away, from winning the NBA championship. They were one game away, right? So, yeah. Goodbye. And just enjoy the rest of the NBA offseason, NBA fans, right? Woo! Woo!